Well, praise you, our Father, who is holy forever and ever. And there is no one but thee. I glorify you with my soul, with my heart, with all that I am, Yahweh. I glorify you mightily. I praise you for your righteousness and your holiness. I glorify you all day long. I glorify thee, Father. You are mighty, and there's no one like unto thee, Father. Let the angel of your presence go before me. Open the hearts and the souls of all that exist, and guide the teaching. Let it be what you need it to be for your glory, Father. Praise you. I thank you. Well, our Father is holy forever and ever. I'm going to blow this shofar. Thank you, Father. Whew. Kind of tickled. So, a lot of times people will come to the channel and they'll see this and they automatically assume there's something dark going on. And they don't want to hear anything else or see what's going on. So I'm going to kind of explain. Behind me, and sometimes I just put the camera there, I have the rainbow fabric. It's a sheer that I have put up behind me, which you can't see it now. Which that's up to represent the covenant of the Most High, because the covenant is, Father used the rainbow to make a covenant with the world and the earth. It also represents the breastplate of the priest. As you know, they had a lot of different stones on the breastplate, one to represent each tribe of Israel. So when I light these candles represent the seven spirits, the seven eyes, the seven tongues. They represent the menorah, basically. And the menorah, there are 7 flames. 3 on one side, 1 in the middle that brings them together, and 3 on the other side. 3 represent life, 3 represent death. But all 7 represents the face of the angel of the presence of the Most High. The 2 on the end represent the ears of the Most High. His presence on the earth, his ears on the earth. So, to stimulate his ears, I call the name of the Most High, Yehoshuah. And then the eyes. To stimulate the eyes, the flames are lit for him to see, that the flames are lit so that his face can shine on me. But also to see that I am in sackcloth and ashes before him. And then the nostrils, to stimulate his nostrils, I light incense. Because I want to stimulate his entire. And I have some apple oil on this to stimulate his mouth. I could eat unleavened bread here, but that's why I do the way I do. I don't like to show my face because I don't want people looking at me and putting more honor in me than giving Father the glory. Because men and women are in the flesh, and they have a tendency to bow to the flesh if they feel like someone has a connection to the Most High more than they do. And they tend to bow to them. And so I try not to do that. And I know many years ago, Father said that he would put me in front of the world overnight. And when that happened, I was to be in sackcloth and ashes. Because as a servant of his, I will be representing him. And he wants me to represent him properly. As a proper servant. Not like the servants that exist today in the world. He has a certain type of servant. His servants, his mouthpieces were prophets in the days of old. And we are coming back. He is getting ready to set prophets up again on this earth long enough to bring forth the new covenant, to write his covenant in the hearts of the people. So this is why I do the things I do. Now, I haven't done another video for a bit. I had started the process of doing the videos to teach the ways of the prophet and how to be a prophet. And I'll get back to that. But I do want you to understand, as a prophet of the Most High, I may touch on some stuff later in this video, but as a prophet of the Most High, and if I take you on this journey to teach you how to be a prophet of the Most High, you have to be a prophet of the Most High. You cannot take the things that I teach you and use them for your own purpose and your own glory. Use it for Father's glory. I will teach you the ways of the prophets. I will teach them to you the way he gave it to me, so that there can be prophets again. Because with the things coming, it's necessary. It's necessary to not have any kind of prophet, but to have the prophets of the Most High, the way he designed prophets. So I'm teaching the ways of the prophets, but you have to understand that if your heart's not pure to the Most High, and you start the walk of the prophet, you can easily, if your foundation is not perfect, it is sometimes easy to go down and go the wrong way, and you end up becoming a false prophet, thinking that you are a prophet of the Most High, but you end up being a false prophet. And you won't know any better. Because these spirits, you have to realize that there are spirits out there that like to mimic and mock and mimic the spirits, the seven spirits, or the spirits of the Most High. And they will try to mimic them and make you believe that they are some of those spirits. So you have to make sure you're on your P's and Q's. I hate it when I have to let go of someone because they let anger well up. Anger, that's why Yehoshuah spoke to forgive 7 times 77 times 7, because he understood that anger, if anger ever wells up in you and comes up, and you didn't forgive somebody or forgive, then you're in trouble. You don't realize it, but you're in trouble. But so you have to make sure that if you're going to go down this path, you are able to be obedient, completely obedient. There's a brother, my beautiful brother, that I've been guiding him for a few years, and he has been wise, and he received instruction, and he was obedient to all that I spoke to him. He has given me all of his dreams and visions. I have guided him with those, and finally what he has left to do was have wisdom, and dreams and visions with servants is the instructions that I need. So when you have dreams and visions, that gives me the instructions, and I can guide you. Father gives me, as a servant, instructions how to guide someone through their dreams, through their visions. And I have been guiding my brother Michael for many years, and he had a special dream, and when he had it, I was like, whoa. I knew that was his epiphany dream, the dream that showed me how to help unlock wisdom, because his dreams and visions, there was wisdom all in them. It's always, because it's a part of, dreams and visions are a part of wisdom. And he finally had a vision and a dream that showed me how to help him unlock wisdom and to him, and I guided him, and he is starting, wisdom is opening up to him, and it's beautiful to watch. I love watching people on their journeys. I love to see them on the journey. I enjoy it. I delight in seeing them as they cross each threshold, But obedience. You have to be obedient. If a servant of the Most High tells you to do something, then do it. Exactly. Don't go away from it. Don't be offended if they tell you to do something that you feel like you're being it offends you. They're guiding you to get you in the presence of the Most High. So with that being said, I want to go to the next, what was dinging me. Wisdom dings me. When I say dinging me, I'm talking about wisdom is dinging me. So wisdom was dinging me in my sleep. Oh, Father, you are holy, you are holy. And what I am going to bring forth is everything is under a law. Everything Father created is under a law. He designed a law, like the law of physics. Everything is under law. Our bodies, atoms, like, they hit each other, they bounce around, they're really fast, like in the air. But like in our body, we consist of the same atoms that are in the air and water and stuff, but they go slower. And because they go slower, we become more solid. And we don't understand and realize that there are spaces in between those atoms in our solidness. It's just that they are slowed down, making us a solid. But there's space in between. That space in between has a resonance that helps keep the solid together. And this is one of the mysteries of Moshiac, Messiah. That resonance, if it is disrupted by a certain frequency, like say a different frequency comes forth, that frequency can disrupt all matter. That's why when the children of Israel went around the walls of Jericho and they blew the shofar, and on the last day they blew it and they shouted, the shofar blowing changed the frequency of the everything in between those rocks, between the rocks and that wall. It changed the frequency enough so that when they shouted, it caused the wall to fall. And in the days ahead, it's the reason everyone will turn their weapons into plows and plowshares and stuff is because those weapons will not be, they'll be useless when Moshiach comes. Okay? When Moshiach comes, this one will be anointed with a certain voice where the frequency in that voice will be able to cause disruption in the frequencies of everything. That voice will be able to be amplified because hearing everything has a frequency within its existence. Everything does. You don't see it. Sometimes scientists don't see it or know it because they don't have the eyes or the tools, or they haven't discovered it yet. But everything has a frequency. And when the frequency is disrupted, everything and anything can be damaged and destroyed. And this is going to be, like I said, it's one of the mysteries of Messiah. The frequency. Just like the name of the Most High. Certain ways you do it, it becomes a frequency. Like this. And the waves. And they go so hard. It can tear anything down. Because there's a frequency. The frequency that will go within everything. The frequency. So that's important. Something important that was poured into me, and it was put into me to bring forth. People, and I have to let you know, if you are still wanting to go down the ways of the prophet, you have to fear. You have to fear our Father in heaven. You have to fear him. And that is one of the biggest issues that we have today, especially in the church, is nobody fears Yehoshuah. Nobody fears him. There is no fear. And you must fear him because he is worthy to be feared. I had my moment with him before his throne, and I've had him speak to me through time and space before, and I was terrified. Something about that. When you're in his presence, you fear him. You are afraid. You have no choice. So, understand something else. You have to learn forgiveness if you're going to be a servant of the Most High. You have to forgive. You have to be able to forgive people before they even do anything to you. Everything's got to bounce off of you. If you're oversensitive, you won't make it. You won't. You won't make it at all. If you're emotional, sensitive, the adversary will use it against you. He will. It's why Yehoshuah taught us certain things. He understood that. He knew that. That's why he said, forgive 7 times 77 times 7. If you understand true forgiveness and mercy, it's not that hard. But you have to understand mercy to understand forgiveness. Another thing, you have to honor the 10 Commandments, and sometimes people think they do already. I've spoken on the Sabbath, making sure you make the Sabbath about the Most High and rest. No work, no parties, no fun, no nothing. You keep your focus on Yehoshuah and glorifying him and praising him. But another thing that's very important that people don't realize is graven images. We don't realize that the cross it's a graven image. So get rid of the crosses. Get rid of all crosses. Get rid of anything that in your thought process, your mind, your spirit, whatever, represents God or represents, the Most High. Anything that represents Him that you have, that when you see it, it makes you think of Him that's made of wood or gold or silver or anything, especially crosses. Crosses is the Christian's greatest graven image, and they don't realize it. They don't see it. If you are going to be a prophet of the Most High, you cannot possess a cross. And you stay away from crosses. You keep forgetting, if He was raised from the dead, the cross represents death. No matter how you look at it, it represents curses and death. And for you to bow to it, that's even worse. Then you're making it a god. It's an idol. It's a graven image that Christians have made into an idol. So you have to act accordingly. Get rid of the crosses. And the next part of the teaching here is the prayer. I've heard preachers for many years preach that the prayer that Yehoshuah spoke was just some example of how to pray, and that's not true. That's not what he said. He said, whenever you ask my Father in heaven for anything, say this prayer. When I bless my food, ask Father to bless my food, I say this prayer. Every little thing, I say this prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy existence, and even so thy name. Anything you ask Father for, say that prayer. And I'm going to tell you why. That prayer is the image of the signet ring of Yehoshuah to Father. It's like the signet. It's like the signet ring. He gave you that prayer to pray to Father, so that when Father hears that prayer, because many prayers go before Him, but when He hears that prayer, He knows, this is a servant of Yehoshua's. This is a servant of Him. He is. Let me hear this prayer. I will hear this prayer. If you wonder why you pray and pray and pray and you don't get an answer, it's because your prayers are falling on deaf ears, because He doesn't receive prayers before His throne seriously that don't have this prayer attached to it when you ask for something. So make sure that you pray this prayer. This prayer has a resonance. It does indeed. Father, you are holy and righteous, and I pray that your servants, these that want to come to you, they are able to come to you, Father, and you open the doors for them to come to you and start preparing them and preparing their hearts to hear what I am speaking, so that they may indeed be able to have a relationship with you, Father. Praise you, Father. Be glorified. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy existence, and even so thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done, on this earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses against thee. Teach us to forgive others the same way you forgive us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Yehoshuah. Praise you, Father. You are holy forever. So I was talking about my brother earlier. And, he has a channel, and I'll probably leave a link to a couple of videos. There's one where he sings that prayer. And a lot of you, if you want, when you pray to Father, if you sing that prayer with him, that would be awesome. But he is pulling together visions and dreams, so that so the Father can open wisdom up to him more. So I'll try to leave a link for that channel. But there's something else. I'm basically I'm a teacher. I'm a messenger. That's what I do. I'm a teacher more than anything. And many years ago, a friend of mine I worked with, her name was Emma, and she was from New York. And I worked with her when I lived in Seattle, and she said something to me that stuck with me all of my life, all of my days. She said, in business, she said, whoever, no matter what you may think of someone, that, if the person that, cleans the offices at night, the trash person or whatever, always treat them with the utmost respect, because you never know when they may be in a position to cost you your job. So always treat them with the utmost respect, and treat them as though they are important, because they are. And I always took that with me. Sometimes you have to be very careful, and I am very careful how you treat people, and how you judge, and how you look at them, because you never know who they are to the Most High. You don't know who they are to our living Yahweh. You have no idea who they are or who they may be. So you always be very careful how you judge them. Because if the angel of the presence is with that person, that presence is always seeing and hearing and knowing it can go through space and time. Even though I'm sitting here making this video and I'll download it later, 3 weeks from now, someone watching this video, the angel of the presence will see them and know their heart. Because now the angel of the presence is attached to this. It's funny because, we're never taught about this floor made at the Tewksbury Institution, right? Y'all probably thinking, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Someone very important, but we have no idea. We're not taught their name. We're not taught anything about that person. And it just so happens that that person who was a maid in this institution, this like asylum, this person cleaned floors. And it just so happens that there was someone that they brought in that they would try to, the doctors and nurses would try to check them and check their body, make sure they were okay, and this person would just fight them like a vicious, like a cat, and wouldn't let them touch her, just vicious. And this floor maid would watch it and be in horror, and she finally decided to bake some brownies and bring them, and she left the brownies there, at her cell. And she finally ended up getting close enough to this woman that this young woman started trusting her. Probably in her late teens or mid-teens. And then finally, the doctors and nurses realized that this young woman trusted this floor maid, as they called her. And they finally convinced her to, help them so that they can at least do a physical examination on her and keep tabs on her and find out what's going on with her, because they didn't know what was going on with her. And so she agreed, and they, because of that, were able to learn that she was partially deaf and partially blind, right? So they were finally able to help this woman and, do what was necessary to help her to hear better. And it just so happened, someone years later wrote a letter to the institution, talking about their child that was acting like an animal, and they couldn't do nothing with her, and they wondered if they knew someone that could help. So they sent this woman that they helped because of the floor maid helping them. And this woman was Annie Sullivan, and she was the one that helped Helen Keller. So sometimes you never know who is who, and sometimes we are more important in the scope of things than we realize. And something I understand and know and realize that Father always sends a servant in its time. He always raises up a servant in a time when a servant is needed or a prophet is needed. Just like he raised this floor maid who nobody knows her name. I know it, but you know, if you want to look it up, that'd be cool. So, as a teacher, those of you that want to know the ways of the prophets, I'm going to continue to teach it. Just understand you have to be very careful. Very careful. Praise you, Father. Use these things for your glory.